no fossil. Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no moon.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And Kenton, I saw that you had posted on your TikTok a joke related to the Ant-Man movie that just came out this weekend. Did you go see it?
No, I did not go see it, but I enjoyed the reviews, ripping it to shreds, basically almost unanimously, I have to say, from media that I respect. I'll just say that. So I didn't go through every last one, but just in the course of reading what I read, people were taking great glee in tearing legs off that ant. Sorry, Spider-Man. Sorry, no, they like Spider-Man. Pull the legs off the ant.
It's funny you say that because there's a joke about that in the movie where he gets confused with Spider-Man, and they make that same joke.
Of course there is, yeah.
But I would say that, and I did go see it, and I saw it twice. I went and saw it twice in the theater.
Oh, my God.
Because my girlfriend really likes Marvel movies, and we were just kind of in the mood to go see a movie, and then my kids wanted to see it the next day. And we've got a brand new movie theater at Killen Place, the Mall by me, and so I went to check out that. The Junction, spelled Junxion. It's a deliberately misspelled word. It's supposed to be Junction. Cineplex Junction, and I have to say
Junk, to be honest,
right.
For honesty in the advertising. Yeah,
junk. It's all junk.
Shun.
It's
and
all
shun
and
it.
There's nothing special about this. It's pretty much the same as any other theater, as far as it's got your typical arcade area where you can put a bunch of money in to get tickets. And then they've got snacks and that kind of stuff. It is somewhat smaller. There's only 5 theaters at this one as opposed to the last one which had 8. Or maybe that one didn't have as many. But I thought 5 was a lower number for a theater these days. Maybe that's kind of them pulling it back a bit. But there's still a lot. It's got 30. Chris pointed out that it's got 38 D-bag seats. We did not do the D-bag for Ant-Man. We saw it in 3D, although it did not need to be in 3D. That's something that was completely extra. And overall, I kind of liked it. I think it's good to go in not knowing anything. I went in, I did not read any reviews. I just, okay, let's go see it. It's opening. And there were some nice surprises. There were some good laughs. Overall, it was pretty silly. The premise, I don't know. You have to kind of buy into the premise. But in the end, it really suffers from all the same things that Marvel movies suffer from these days, which is an overuse of CGI, a boring villain, and basically a meaningless story that doesn't affect anything. That's it. It doesn't mean and they make a point in the film of going back to normal. They have a sequence in the beginning. Welcome Back, Kotter plays very prominently in it. The theme song from Welcome Back, Kotter is in there a lot, and they make a point of bringing him back to that at the end and saying, now we're back to this. Oh, what's going to happen? And they kind of hint at it, but it's all and I guess the whole point of this was to set up Kang. You remember Kang from Loki?
Unfortunately, I do. Yes. Unfortunately, because that was the show that started pretty strongly, I thought, and then just by the end, I just could care less. Yeah, and I understand that plays a major role in this film. Yeah,
and I would say that's a good descriptor for this film. It does start out strongly. It's got some good, they get shrunk down to the quantum realm, and that's it's like Micronauts, right? And there's stuff down there. But that's fun. That's comic book fun. I like that kind of stuff. All the creatures, all the CGI did look good. When I say overuse of CGI, I'm talking about the bad guys, the minions or whatever, the soldiers that he has. These, I don't know what they are, if they're robots or they're whatever. They don't really say. They're just generic faceless things that get killed all the time. And some of the characters that were kind of popped in there, people who live in the quantum realm, are funny and interesting. Some of that kind of stuff is good. But ultimately the ending just got so boring. And this guy, and it's funny because Chris, again, this is a bit of an argument on TikTok because I posted my video on TikTok about it. But Chris said that he thought that it was one of the best performances of a Marvel villain ever. And I said, that's not saying much, when it comes to Marvel.
Yeah, so I've seen, and by the way, I have to ask you about this because I've seen some of the footage online of the villain that people do not care for the design, and I can't remember the character's name.
Oh, MODOK.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. I loved it. I thought that was hilarious.
Is it played for laughs? Is it?
Yes.
Because it looks terrible.
Oh, but they make fun of it the whole time. They make fun of it. They're like, oh, it's good to see your face, and what a face! It's pretty funny.
But shouldn't he have been a terrifying creature like he is in the comic, right? He's a terrifying giant head brainiac. style
Yeah, but it's
guy.
also a creature that I think was created in the 60s when they were looking
Right.
for something weird, and it's inherently a silly design, I think. You can't look at MODOK and be scared because of the little arms. Like if you had like normal size a body with that giant head, it wouldn't be a giant head, I guess. But anyway, I think that there's no way to do that seriously in the live action Marvel Cinematic Universe. And by the way, there is a series, an animated series on Disney Plus called MODOK. It's voiced by Patton Oswalt. In that, and but who was also in this movie. He voiced somebody in this movie. I can't remember who. But it's funny. It's much more of a comedy, that series, and he's a comic relief here as well. It's meant for laughs for sure. He has a bit of a too abrupt about face at the end. I'll say that his character just changes things so quickly, and it's like it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like earned. And there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of plot issues, a lot of pacing issues. Dialogue is bad. There's a lot of those little things that are really not great throughout. But in the end, it's not. I probably am not going to watch it again. I think of the 3 Ant-Man movies, the second one I think is the best one.
You know what? That's interesting because I hated the first one. I'm unlike most people. I thought that first one was I just couldn't. I was like, oh, the divorced dad, like all of that garbage. And I just couldn't, we've seen that story with that same lesson so many times. And so the second one came, and I agree with you. I thought the second one was all right. I didn't think it was amazing. I didn't change my life in any way, but I was like, okay, we made a step up. They've kind of eliminated the fat. We've got a more streamlined, kind of more interesting story. But anything I've seen from this one, I cannot drag myself to see it. I can't even drag myself to the remote control to watch it at home, for that matter. It just does. And I think you've put, hit the nail on the head when you say the Marvel films that don't impact anything else, that kind of go back. If anything, they put you back where you already were. And that's how I felt. I thought Doctor Strange might be my least favorite, the last one. I just think as a Marvel film, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I thought it was worse than Black Widow. I thought it was worse than almost anything. And it just got to the point, and once again, the quantum realm, the multiverse of madness. Then I see the Flash, the DC character, the Flash, and I watch that trailer. Multiverse.
Yep.
Quantum. How many? Okay, so we had 3 Spider-Mans. Now we're gonna have 2 Batmans. How many? We're just replicating now.
I want them to do the Spider-Man trick with the Batmans and get Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Michael Keaton, Christian Bale. Who's the new guy? Robert Pattinson. And Adam West is no longer with us, unfortunately. But almost everybody else who's played Batman is still alive. So let's get them all together in one multiverse thing. But
they're ruining your idea by putting the 2 Batmans by themselves in the Flash. Well, here's the thing. It should be all the Batmans, or do you think there might be more and we're just not seeing them in the trailer?
I have no idea. I have no idea where that one's going. That's completely off the rails. I can tell you what they're doing based on the end cut scenes, the 2 post-credit scenes in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is that they're doing it's basically it's the Council of Ricks. If you watch Rick and Morty, it's like Rick has all these other Ricks from other multiple universes all get together and they have their government. It's that kind of thing, except with Kangs. So we see it, and it admittedly looks kind of silly. It's Egyptian Kang. He's wearing a Tutankhamun kind of headdress, like ancient Egypt. There's 3 different types of Kangs. One of them's got a really raspy voice, and they realize that there's something that needs to be done about this, and so then they have to look into it. Whatever happened in the Ant-Man movie got their attention, so now they have to kind of whatever. But it's just so stupid. To me, it's if there was an infinite amount of Kangs, then there's also an infinite amount of Thanoses, right? That guy's probably in all these multiverses. How many of them still had the snap, or how many of them, that kind of stuff. It's just
it goes on and on.
Yes, it's never ending, and I guess they want it that way, but it's ultimately not very satisfying.
Yeah, no, it's not. And the multiples. Let's watch more in upcoming movies. Multiples of existing heroes and villains.
Yes.
Spider-Man set it up for everyone else, and now this is what we must deal with for the next 10 years.
And this movie, by the way, had 3 people who could do the Ant-Man trick, the shrinking and growing trick, both giant and small, although I don't think the Wasp actually gets giant, but both Ant-Man and his daughter, who has a suit now for no reason. She's just a teenager who has an Ant-Man suit. Anyway, they're padding the cast is the problem. There's too many people. starring in this now. So anyway,
and as I understand it, Ant-Man's daughter has secretly been visiting the quantum realm for many years or something
like
until she.
Oh.
But then
that was hilarious. It was one line of dialogue, and she's like, while you were all stuck in the blip, I looked into Grandpa Hank Pym's notes about the quantum realm, and
she read his notes.
Became an expert in it. That's what happened.
She's the first Gen Z to read in her life, to read anything, let alone her grandfather's notes. And then she takes those notes, and then she goes to the quantum realm, or she peers into it.
She sends a signal. She sends a signal to the quantum realm. Then Michelle Pfeiffer gets really upset. Michelle Pfeiffer's like, don't send a signal to the quantum realm. What are you doing? Because she was down there and she knew there was a bunch of people down there, but she didn't tell them.
So the
whole time, Michelle Pfeiffer character like eats out little information throughout the movie. This whole podcast is just me complaining about Ant-Man, but it's like, so there's just a lot of.
You enjoyed it.
Well, I enjoy, again, the initial viewing of it was fun. It was I laughed, I cried, I didn't cry, but I was like moved by it eventually. And the second time was not as good, but it was still funny. There's still some good laughs in it. Watch it when it comes to Disney Plus. Just watch it.
I don't think I will.
Well, whatever.
I can't bring. I'm gonna wait. Like, I was happy that I watched Spider-Man because everybody said it was great, and they were right. It really was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. Then everybody said don't watch Doctor Strange because it's terrible, and then I watched it, and they were right. It was really terrible. And Ant-Man appears to be going the way of don't watch it. It's terrible.
All right.
Wakanda, as I understand it, Wakanda Forever, which I have not seen, has a great beginning and a great ending, which I will probably watch, and that everything in between is null and void.
Yeah,
as I understand it. Yeah,
I think so. I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't a fan of what they did with Namor.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. I've seen that too. That doesn't look great. Yeah.
That's just, that's what it is. You can't really lose that part of the movie. Anyway.
No, you can't. But it's interesting, and I'm glad that we called out the multiple heroes and villains because we appear to be. And actually, Michael Keaton starred in a movie called Multiplicity. Do you remember that? Where it was him and his
clones of himself. Yes.
Yes. So isn't it ironic that he's now starring in a film with multiple Batmans? It's not just a sequel to the DC whatever. It's a sequel to Multiplicity at the same time.
Multibadaplicity. I'm trying to come up with a multibadaplicity. It sounded better in my head.
You are.
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Something coming to Disney Plus next week that we are definitely going to watch, and that is season 3 of The Mandalorian, which drops. And I'm assuming that they're going to do probably 2 episodes. Now, you said something about the first episode. What is word on the street about the premiere coming next week?
Once again, I don't know where this originates, but I've seen it picked up far and wide, so it may be true. And that is that the season premiere of The Mandalorian is 35 minutes long. And which it would be short episode of The Mandalorian, but doesn't mean it won't be an action-packed or interesting or intriguing episode of The Mandalorian. And it also makes me wonder, like, I don't know, might we get 2 episodes of The Mandalorian on the first?
That's what I thought, because they've done that in the past. Yeah. They've done 2 episodes in one day, and so if it's a half hour and then another half hour, then hey, it's just like we're getting one hour special if they do it at the same time, because we're not going to like sit there and just watch one, right? You're going to watch them back to back.
That's right, exactly. So we'll see if it's and of course it's in every Star Wars fan's nature to complain about something you don't even know anything about yet. So, but I'm excited to start getting up early again and watch it. And I love The Mandalorian. I think The Mandalorian is among the best Star Wars we've had in recent times.
Yes.
So you got to look forward to it. And so far, Filoni and Favreau have not led us astray in their live action. And I guess some people didn't like Boba Fett as much, but I really enjoyed it. And I particularly loved, once again, the Mandalorian episodes of Book of Boba Fett. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the next thing we'll have in store for us. Oh, and I should also say I saw a new preview on TV, a TV spot for the Mandalorian with new scenes in it. Nothing that I don't think we haven't already seen from a different angle. So they're showing like more the scene where the Mandalorians fall out of the dropship. you get another scene from another angle of seeing them come down, which is cool. The bar with droids, you get a close up on the C-3PO like droid in the bar, but it's not C-3PO. What was the other one? Oh, when on Tatooine, when Amy Sedaris says, "May the Force be with you," I think there's another shot like looking up at the Mandalorian leaving. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So they're kind of not venturing from what we've already seen. They're just showing us sort of various angles of that stuff that we've seen in the original trailer.
I'm watching. I'm still in the middle of rewatching. I'm probably episode 6 of season 2. They just the Death Troopers just swooped in and carried away Grogu, and so now Mando and Boba Fett and Fennec Shand have to go and rescue baby Grogu. So this is coming up on the scene where Luke's going to show up in the next episode, I think, or maybe the one after that. I don't remember, but it's coming up very soon. I might be towards the end of the season though, then. Yeah, because that was at the end of that season, right?
That might have been the second last episode.
Okay, so I'm almost done that, and I do plan on watching all of the Book of Boba Fett. I really enjoyed Boba Fett. I liked the way he shows up. I just watched the one again. It's this one where he shows up to get his armor back, and he helps. Yeah. He kicks all these other stormtroopers' asses, and he's just great without the armor. And then he gets the armor, and then he kicks their ass even more. So I really enjoyed that one. It's sad that we see the Razor Crest gets destroyed rather unceremoniously, just when it gets blasted from space. But it's good that they had some. It's a good show. And there's also that scene I forgot about, which is a scene at the end of the episode where baby Grogu is like throwing the stormtroopers around with the Force. Do you remember that? It was awesome.
It's how he tires them out.
Yeah, and Gus Fring just sits there and watches them and laughs at it. He's just like, boom, just throwing these guys all over the place. He's like, oh, that's how you tire yourself out. There you go.
Yeah. Then he falls asleep. Yeah, it's man, I love that story. And I think there's once again, when you sort of read what people have written about it and stuff, most people agree that they should have made us wait to see him
episodes.
Maybe they should have, but then I kind of like that we're plunging just back into the action without having to see that, without having to sort of set that up.
You can just watch those 2 episodes. If you don't want to watch all of the last 2 seasons, just watch those 2 as the setup for what's coming next, because that kind of puts them at the most recent point of the story.
Right.
So,
but also, sorry, I was going to say Book of Boba Fett, it's got a lot of great stuff in it, like the scenes in Jabba's palace and with the little guy, the little chef guy or whatever running around. There's some solid gold in there. And I think the only thing that I can't stamp my endorsement on is those kids on their mopeds or whatever driving around. Like, okay, that was just a weird, like, all right, they gave it a shot. Yeah, they gave it a shot. I don't think that fully worked, but there's a lot of good stuff.
Star Wars does that though. They'll try different weird things and just see what happens and see what the reaction is, right? So I don't think we'll see those kids again. But
I don't think so.
Who knows, right? We'll see some other version, something else like that will come up, I'm sure.
It'd be funny if there was a big team up in this series of The Mandalorian so Boba Fett. I think Boba Fett will show up again in this Mandalorian season. And wouldn't it be funny if those kids on their mopeds showed up with him just to drive fans crazy? Like he's friends with them now.
Yeah. He shows up and says, they're basically his guards for his palace, or they go run his errands. They're his couriers. They run his courier. They're little bike couriers.
Yeah,
that's what they are.
That's about their value in the overall Star Wars universe. But hey, don't undervalue a courier. But I mean, they're not, they're not major players. Let's just say.
That's right. No, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And so hopefully I should be able to finish up this watch through of it. As far as my favorite episodes go, I think my favorite episode from season 1 is still the heist or the prison break episode with
so good
with Bill Burr and all those guys.
Yeah.
But season episode has got to be the one where we see Ahsoka Tano show up. The episode before this, where they have to fight and they're in that town and she's got to fight that woman with the Beskar staff. It's such a good scene. It's just really good.
It's really good. That's a solid episode. And that's where you learn Grogu's name.
Yep.
And we have the dude from Terminator. I can't think of
Michael
his
Biehn.
name. Right. That's so good to see him.
Yeah.
I just like, and that's the first utterance of Thrawn in live action. There's a lot of stuff that happens in that episode.
Yeah. And it's really well shot. It looks very different. It's very dark. And just cool. I think it was actually Robert Rodriguez directed that one, I think. It's hard, or maybe the one after that. But again, you can see like all these awesome people coming together to make the show, and it's just gonna happen again. We're gonna see another season of that, another like however many episodes, 10 episodes. Do we know how many episodes?
I don't know that we do.
But we're gonna see it another, fun adventure. Do you think we'll see Thrawn, or will that be for Ahsoka's series?
I'm gonna say that'll be for Ahsoka series, but I could be wrong. Like I think that the Mandalorian has lots of business to take care of. And I think we'll see that. I think we'll see that unfold in this season. And then Ahsoka has different business to take care of. And they've already dropped Thrawn when the person was talking to her. So I think that's most likely where we are to see him in live action. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I got so here, okay, I was looking for like a listicle 8 Star Wars questions we need answers to in The Mandalorian season 3. And the thumbnail is Kim's Convenience, which I love. Because he's in the trailer, right? Isn't he in the trailer?
It's great. Yes, he is.
What does it say here? Okay, well, no, that's a related story. What exactly happened on the night of 1,000 Tears? Is that the Mandalorian slaughter? Is that what that's about?
Remember, I think they gave us a shot of that. Oh, was that Book of Boba Fett? You know, remember we did that flash to that?
Yeah, okay. And it says that was talking about when he was talking to Bo-Katan. So I guess this must be coming up. I already saw them in season 2. So... yeah, I mean, I don't care about that necessarily, but I guess we will get more of a backstory on the Mandalorian history and that kind of stuff.
Right. I'm more concerned with what's going on now as opposed to...
Next question. How did Bo-Katan lose the Darksaber? I don't care. I
think but remember, he can't just hand it to her.
Yeah.
He has to defeat him in battle, and that's a whole other... I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless he lets it. Question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because she had it in the Clone Wars. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I mean, they have to show us how Moff Gideon got it at some point, I think, right?
Well, I mean, through nefarious means is the answer, and I don't know if we need to see that.
Is that as important as how what's her name got the lightsaber in The Force Awakens? It's a story for another time.
I would say that's more important to know. What were the travels of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber before that movie?
Okay. And next question: what's going on with Moff Gideon now?
He's like Hannibal Lecter in prison probably right now, dispensing whatever.
Yeah, are we going to get like a Clarice and Hannibal kind of thing where he's going to sit down and talk through the glass at her with some fava beans?
He's going to, he's going to play cat and mouse with his captors probably. And there might even be a plan to get him out of there or something. I just think he's more likely to be a character behind bars for most of the season. And he's no Hannibal Lecter. He's not an imposing figure. Like he turned into a complete wimp without the Darksaber.
Yeah, and he's no Thrawn, right? I think that if we're setting up Thrawn to be the next big bad, as in like not Darth Vader or the Emperor, I guess, as far as Mandalorian or as far as Star Wars villains go, then I lost my train of thought. Anyway, okay, next question. What's happening? Oh, this is good. What's happening on Coruscant in The Mandalorian season 3? Like we've had a lot of like check-ins with what's happening around the galaxy. We've been mostly in the Outer Rim so far. We have not gone to the core. But I think that, something that Andor gave us was a lot of great Coruscant scenes, and it makes me want to see more of that. So I'm hoping, that's a good question. What's happening? What do you think is happening?
Well, we got that extra shot on the Disney Plus trailer of the Star Destroyer shipyard.
Okay.
And I think so. We're going there. We're gonna maybe we just see a shot of it, but it's unlikely. I think
this says Dr. Pershing. Dr. Pershing, the cloning doctor from The Mandalorian, is on Coruscant. So yeah, we'll see that guy again. He's gonna be experimenting on Grogu, maybe, or I don't know.
He already has.
Oh yeah, he already has. That's right. He's got some.
So
yeah.
He's got what he needs. They had their chance to kill him, and remember, he said he protected Grogu because the other guy wanted to kill him. So we're still not 100% sure of his motives. We do know that there's going to be cloning of whoever Snoke is. We do know that is going to happen.
I don't think we're going to go anywhere near that stuff.
I think we might. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be instantaneous. I think it'll be slow. It's a slow build because
I think they're going to maintain their distance from that. See, that whole trilogy is not.
I don't think
looked
so.
on very, very kindly. I don't.
Well, why would there be a shipyard with Star Destroyers in it after?
Well, the Empire is coming back, but they still have 30
Yeah.
years to fill before we get to the First Order, right? So I think there's certainly, and then it's actually one of the lines in the episode I just watched where like the Star Destroyer shows up and they have to go after it. Remember when Boba Fett goes after him? He's like, I'll do a loose follow, whatever he says. And he sees the Star Destroyer and he's like, the Empire is back. There's a Star Destroyer. That's like just kind of remnants of like whatever's left after after head office shuts down. All the little franchises are still open around the galaxy. So that's kind of what's going on there.
Right, but in Rise of Skywalker, when 10 billion Star Destroyers just show up out of nowhere, that there has to be some tip of the hat to that, and I think that might be it.
Well, maybe, because they have to start building somewhere. Okay,
right.
Next question: who saved Grogu during Order 66? Do you think we'll find that out? And who do you think it might be?
We will find that out because there's a shot of 3 Jedi standing in front of the door that's opening. They're standing in front of Grogu, presumably, and the clone troopers are about to come through the door, and maybe more. Maybe Anakin Skywalker is coming through the door, for all we know. We don't know what the chain of Grogu has been or is. It could just as well be Anakin who takes Grogu away, and then
like
somehow,
he was there killing all the other children. As you do, and you get that order from the Emperor, and then stop because there was a baby Yoda, literally a baby Yoda. Oh, I've never seen a baby version of Yoda before, and didn't kill him.
It's possible that he would at that point he'd turned over to the dark side. So it's possible that he could see this as a potential apprentice to overthrow the Emperor. Remember, because there's always 2.
Right.
So why not get
his own,
why not get the young one who doesn't know what's going on, and you can manipulate that young one to being your apprentice so you can overthrow the Emperor. It could be something like that. They're gonna make it a surprise of some kind, I think. Or it'll be something like Obi-Wan Kenobi did, or something like that. It's gonna be something that makes the audience gasp.
It's not going to be Mace Windu?
Possibly. I do. I think there's a chance.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think it's impossible.
This article even says it remains to see. Okay, well, this is the next question in this. Will there be another major Star Wars cameo? Which is probably the answer to the previous question. If we do find out who it is that rescued Grogu, that person will probably show up and tell us that they rescued Grogu, and it may be another big Star Wars character, like somebody who's seen from a past movie. This one says it could be something like Han Solo or Princess Leia at this time, because again, they would be on Coruscant rebuilding, right? They would be building the. I don't think we're going to see
Order
Leia.
66.
No, this is we're talking about Mandalorian, right? So this is after Return of the Jedi. So they're rebuilding the Galactic Empire there. Leia is on Coruscant right now.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Order 66 timeline. Sorry, I misunderstood what you meant.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all very confusing.
So leaving behind Order 66 and going back to Mandalorian timeline.
Were we talking about the Order 66? Is that what I was talking about?
Yeah. Where like the Jedi's, who's gonna go take baby Grogu, right?
Oh, well, who rescued them? Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Yes, yeah. So going back to the Mandalorian timeline.
Right. And then what was the question for that one?
The question was is there going to be another major Star Wars cameo at this time? I guess of the level that Luke was a major Star Wars cameo. So of something of the level
of. Will we see Luke again? Is a good question. I think we might.
Could be, yeah.
Hey, they did a better job on him last time in Book of Boba Fett than ever before. So I think they continue to make improvements every time. So there's a good chance we'll see more Luke, I'd say. Would they do Han Solo?
I mean, Harrison Ford is getting a lot of press for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
They
de-aging too.
Yeah, de-aging, I'm sure.
It's in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't think they de-aged him too much. Like, they would have to de-age him quite a bit to go back to, like, Return of the Jedi Han Solo. But they did it for Luke, right? They did it for Luke, and they could do it for him too.
They might have been doing it anyway for Indiana Jones. I'm worried about that Indiana Jones. I'm worried that it's time travel. I'm just worried about what they could do with the Dial of Destiny. I hope it's good. I like the trailer.
Crystal Skull. Yeah, it looks good. I saw it again. When I went to see Ant-Man, I saw the trailer for that, and it was fun to see that on the big screen. It does look good. My kids are now interested in wanting to see Indiana Jones. I'm like, well, let's watch the originals first.
Oh, yeah.
So show you the good ones, and then we'll see Crystal Skull.
Well, the first, Raiders of the Lost Ark continues to be one of the great films of all time. Like, when you watch it now, I even say when you watch it now, it looks like Casablanca. Like, it looks like it's so well made that when you compare it to the CGI stuff that's coming out now, you're just like, wow, what a throwback. Like, it actually looks, to my eyes, the way Casablanca looked during that time period, when Raiders came out. So it's well worth it for people to go back there and watch those movies. They're so good.
For sure. And then the final question here on this article was, do you think Din Djarin is going to become the leader of the Mandalorians?
Potentially, except he might abdicate the throne for Baby Yoda, for Grogu.
or Baby Yoda is going to be named his heir. I finally started watching The House of the Dragon, so now I'm all into the heirs and being named heirs and the line of succession and people marrying their cousins or something. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. It's typical Game of Thrones stuff, but it's good. I'm having fun with it.
Oh, it's great. What episode are you on?
I think I'm like 5 or 6 at this point. So I can't remember what's going on. It's like, hey,
let me just ask you a simple question. How's the king's health in these?
The king, it's declining rapidly. I don't expect he's going to make it through the season. That's something
well, hang on to something, because there's lots of there's stuff you're not going to believe.
Okay, I bet. I just think it's funny. Like the very first episode, they say, it's a sword that won't heal. I'm like, well, he's not going to last. That's like a death sentence in this time. Anyway.
Yeah, you're in for a treat, and that's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, let's leave it there. All right. So there you go. There's some questions that we have. Any other questions coming to mind for you for the next season of The Mandalorian?
I'm really not asking questions. I'm just happy it's back, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again and to having that great Wednesday morning start to the day. Yeah. By getting up and just taking it in and then watching it again later that night. It's always just a good bookend to that day, to a day of the week when you're usually miserable.
Hump day.
How about you?
I'm looking forward to it as well. I think I'm going to start doing that too, start getting up early and watching it. I don't think I did that last season. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what happens,
Yeah, no, me too. I can't wait. And once again, they've earned our trust. I think this is going to be, this will be a season where it'll either be better than we've ever seen before, or it could take a dip. And we'll all get worried. And we'll all get worried and scared about where the future of the franchise is. But I don't think so. I think we're going to build on what's come before.
Yeah, I agree. I remembered I had a segue there about Wednesdays, talking about having a great Wednesday and how it's starting off the Wednesday well. The current show they've been airing on Wednesdays, The Bad Batch, has not been doing that. I've not been inspired to wake up early on Wednesdays to watch the new episode of The Bad Batch. In fact, I don't think I finished the most recent episode. There might be still 10 minutes left.
I watched it. No, I watched it and I can't tell you what happens because it's just I'm not engaged with it. And I know is it for kids? I think it is for kids. This season in particular, though, the storyline there's a very loose storyline, we could say. Some of the major questions. Speaking of questions, some of the major questions in the last season just seem to have been forgotten about in this season, and there isn't a strong through line at this point. So it's not captivating me. I'm dutifully watching it. I'm giving it a view for Disney, so Disney Plus can see that people are interested in Star Wars. But it is not my favorite season anything, including most I wasn't a fan of Rebels, I can say, and this to me is giving me Rebels vibes.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit. I did like Rebels, but the thing is, Rebels had a good through line and a good story, and ultimately good characters. And I think that's what this show lacks, is not great characters, or lacks great characters rather. Because I find that every time we have an episode of the Bad Batch without the Bad Batch, it's actually pretty good. The one that we had a couple episodes ago that was more about the backstory of the what's happening after the war. You've got all these clones now who are aging rapidly and have nothing to do because they were built for war, and now they don't have any more battles to fight. They're replacing them with stormtroopers, so there's that whole thing. Like, there are some things that are interesting that I would like to know more about, but then every time we come back to the Bad Batch, they're always on some fucking planet where they run into somebody else, and this person is having a hard time. They have like another, what appears to be in this latest episode, another like Oliver Twist situation where it's like these a bunch of little, or what's his name? Yeah, Oliver Twist is what I'm going for, where there's a bunch of kids who are like, being abused by this the Artful Dodger, so to speak, and it's just boring because we've seen it before, and nothing changes at the end of it. It's just, okay, back on the ship and fly away, and we're off to our next adventure. And I'm much more interested in all this stuff about the clones, and like, I hope we get that back. It was nice to see Rex. Did we see Rex, or was it Cody, or both?
Oh, I remember. Can I remember, Dan? I can't.
But one of them, they all showed up. But it was good to see those guys. I kind of I perked up when they showed up. But then one of them goes away with them. One of the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is so bad that it can't even keep them all together. One of them has to leave because I'm like, I got to go fight, guys. I'm not going to stick around with you. You're lame.
Right.
That's what he says. Anyway, it's not been great. But next Wednesday, The Mandalorian season 3 starts. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, that to me is the one we're really waiting for. But you and I have never been too big on the animated stuff, and we're older guys who enjoy Star Wars, and there's younger people who enjoy it too and who like the animated stuff, and that's great. I'm glad there's animated stuff for kids to watch. This just isn't the kind of thing that's my favorite part of Star Wars, but that's okay. There can be all different kinds of shows, and we're at the point with content now where you can choose your favorite kind of Star Wars and just watch that. So that's what we're about to do with The Mandalorian coming up.
Yep, exactly. I just wanted to let you know I was at Walmart this morning. I had to push our podcast back a bit because I was out shopping. And while I was there, I saw some kind of cool figures. It was neat that I saw this one today. I almost bought it because I just watched this episode today. I don't know if you can see this. This is I can't really see it very well. It's Boba Fett in his what's his robes, his Sand People robes. So it's Boba Fett from The Mandalorian.
Ooh.
And he's basically got his brown robe on. I don't know. He comes with his gaffy stick. Cool. Stuff like that. But this is Boba Fett before he gets his armor on, which happens in that episode as well.
Is that I'm sure a 6-inch figure or 3-inch figure?
6 inch.
Wow. Nice.
I almost bought it. Then I saw it was $50.
Oh, it's too much. The price of the figures. It's outrageous. Like, I saw one too. I saw the Obi-Wan Kenobi little figure 3 from the series in the blue outfit. I was like, that's so cool. And I'm not paying $30. Ooh, what's that you got there?
Imperial officer. Just a generic Imperial officer from Andor. This is from Andor. I don't remember the
one.
I don't know.
It looks like her.
This is a guy with a mustache.
Oh,
here you can see him.
You're holding it up. Oh, now I see it. Sorry, the mustache was. When you held it far away, I couldn't see it. Now I can.
So there's a guy. I don't remember this guy at all. It just says Imperial Officer. It says in brackets. It says Dark Times. Oh. So during when were the Dark Times? I don't understand what that refers to.
That's Ben Kenobi mentions it in A New Hope.
And then in the back description, I actually took a photo of the back description. In an era filled with danger, deception, and intrigue, Cassian Andor embarks on a path that will turn him into the rebel hero who will challenge the evil galactic empire. That just seems like the whole summary of Andor.
Right, that's what the show
is. Nothing having to do with this figure. That was $30, by the way. That generic Imperial officer was $30.
Oh, I know.
So it's like, what the hell? This is I was not about to buy that stuff at that price.
The expense of it is like $25 for a 3-inch figure. That's outrageous.
And I've also noticed that G.I. Joe, this is not Star Wars related, but G.I. Joe, I saw an 6-inch G.I. Joe figure that was identical to like the ones that we used to have as kids, but the smaller ones that were 3.5 inches when we were younger. But now they're like 6-inch on a bigger card like the Star Wars are. And I guess they're probably $30 or $40 as well.
They're selling them to adults now.
Yes.
As collectibles. That's what's different.
Yeah.
They're a premium product, and before they just used to be something kids would rip out of the thing and play with. So, but the price is unconscionable. I don't know. I love collecting that stuff too. There's some Indiana Jones figures that are about to come out, 6-inch ones. And you can see them all over online. People who got sent early versions and Hasbro's launch, and they look so cool that if I see one, I'm going to have to buy it. So I'm almost trying to hide so I don't have to, because it's going to be, like 6 super cool Indiana Jones figures at $30 a figure anyway, minimum, maybe even more. Like it starts to get really pricey.
Yeah.
And for what? Just so I can look at my collection, So I
so
don't
you can
know.
reenact the movie. Is Mutt in there? What's his name?
No.
Shia
No,
LaBeouf in the movie? He's not in the movie?
No,
I thought I saw him in the trailer.
Oh, in the new one?
I thought he was in there, but maybe I.
Well, he
may.
he may be in the new movie, but I don't believe he's in a trailer.
He's not.
No, and in fact, the Indiana Jones figures are from all the other movies, and there's one for the new one. But it's Indiana Jones in the white jacket, like from Temple of Doom.
Oh, cool.
I know. There's some very nice stuff out there.
That's a great scene.
Oh, it's a great scene. And so you see him with the white jacket, and he's got, and it's even got the flaming barbecue that he sticks into the guy's face, I think, into his mouth.
That looks pretty cool.
I
would have to buy that too.
Yeah, I know. It's too cool.
But because it's a very specific scene in that movie, though, that's what it is. All right, that's neat.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them online. I don't know how many there are. And as I said, I'm trying to avert my eyes from them because it's better if I don't know.
Yeah.
But
if I see any in the wild, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. But I like the ones that you saw. It's been at my Walmart. There's nothing. There's the 3-inch Obi-Wan Kenobi figure I almost bought, but I think it's $35 for 3-inch figure. Like, no way.
No.
And then they've got a whole bunch of Lolas from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, like a pile of those. And then every once in a while, some weird figure will just show up and it'll be on the wrong hook. That'll just be with the wrestling figures or something. But it's been a really poor selection in the last, since COVID, I'd say. There's been nothing.
Well, maybe we'll see another surge after The Mandalorian comes out.
Maybe another surge of COVID?
No, another surge of Star Wars toys. Star Wars merchandise. We'll see a big push of Star Wars merch.
I love seeing it, but I don't think I'm going to buy any more of it unless it's so cool that I have no choice.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let's see. So it's going to be a big Star Wars week. I can't wait.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see and we'll talk about it. We'll keep going. We'll do an episode by episode breakdown of The Mandalorian as we go. So we'll do that next week. When we get together on Friday. Cool. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadebonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
I'm taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work. That's no moon.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Now I am the master. I'm taking an awful risk, Vader.